Okay, we're going to fix the bolt that we got from Twisted Barrel. They did a beautiful job of machining this bolt. The problem is they put the extractor lug section in 180 out. So when you raise the bolt and pull it back, the extractor here and the pin pushing is trying to move the case inward against the gun instead of ejecting the shell out of the ejection port. So we got to knock that pin out right there. In order to do that, we got to take all of this apart, take the firing pin out and everything so that we can push that little pin out. So I broke the bolt loose so it's not as tight as it has been. And we're going to remove the bolt here. It's the first time I've ever done this because I watched YouTube. That's the bolt, flat end of it. And there's the handle. This piece here has a little ball in it. You don't want to lose it. It fits in that groove right there. So we can pull it off. The ball stays in there, thank God. But we have to remember to put that back on. So now you slide that back enough that you can line everything up and you pull that pin out. And then you slide this out of there. Pay attention to how it goes in. It can only go in one way. Now comes the firing pin assembly. Now we can knock that pin out like that. It has a hole for the firing pin to go through. And now, since it's got a spring washer on it already and everything looks like it's correct, we can rotate that around like so. Now the ejector is going to be pulling the shell out, and we line up the hole, put our pin back in just like that. Make sure that groove and lip, ledge, whatever, is on the side. That's the bolt guide. And then we drop everything back in, and it should line up. Sometimes you got to do this twice because you got to make sure that the pin has that little hole lined up lengthwise. So everything's got to time together perfectly. There we go. Get it just right. If you're lucky. Woohoo! We got it to go together. Nice. And we orient that hole like so. Slide our sleeve back on there with the pin orientation correct. Make sure all of that stays where it's supposed to stay. Drop our pin back in the hole like so. Make sure the firing pin comes out. Now would be a good time to test this and see. Oops, hang on a second. Get my calipers out here. Now would be a good time to check the protrusion. If I can do it. I don't know if I can do it like this or not. You have to measure the tip of the firing pin, which is very difficult to get your calipers on. And then we zero it, slide the pin back, and measure 0.37. Not quite enough protrusion. We should go in there and fix it while we've got it apart. But it works fine. I'm going to leave it alone. If I have trouble with ignition, then I'll change it. Now we've got to put this back in the groove with the little ball facing upwards. Just like that. put the bolt back on. Since the ejector needs to pull the shell that way, the bolt handle needs to go on that way. And then get this started, a couple of turns. And then try to pull that firing pin back. And then tighten this up, which it's going to be spring loaded like it was when it came apart. And there we have it. Now the ejector is pulling the shell casing this way, and that spring plunger is pushing the case, so it, now when I pull the bolt up and slide it back, bingo, it'll work properly. And everything is looking good. Well, there you are, Marty. That was for you.